Hello everyone and welcome to the Kiki London YouTube channel. My name's Amanda and in today's video we are going to be looking at how to create a chrome French using a couple of the different types of chromes that are available on the Kiki London website. So I really hope you all enjoy watching. Now first up, I want to do this look that I've seen all over Instagram where you have a pearl white chrome tip. I think it looks really subtle but really pretty, so I wanted to give it a go over a couple of different colours, and then that inspired me to also do a holographic chrome tip as well as a flake chrome tip. So I hope you all enjoy watching. I am also going to be doing my chrome French slightly different to how I've done it in previous videos as well, so it's a bit of a different technique. So we're going to start off by applying our base shade, and on the first nail design I thought I would go for something quite natural, so we've gone for the beautiful blush. So I'm going to apply my first coat of this, pop it into cure for 30 seconds, and then we'll apply our second coat. Of course, if you was doing this on yourself or a client, you would do all of your prep and then your base coat to begin with, but because we're working on display tips, we're just coming straight in with the colour. I did have something sticky stuck to my brush there, so I was just cleaning that off because I didn't want it to go into onto the nail. So I'm just applying this nice and thin, keeping everything nice and even. This is something that's really important with anything to do with chrome. You want to make sure your application is as flawless and as smooth as possible, because chrome will pick up any little tiny flaw or piece of dust. So keep everything as neat and as smooth as possible. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and apply a thin coat of the crystal top coat. This is a no wipe top coat. You do need to use a no wipe top coat with the chrome. For the chrome to be applied onto, you need to cure your no wipe top coat. Now in the previous chrome videos I've done, a lot of those were when the chromes first launched and the crystal top coat wasn't out then, so I was really interested in experimenting to see how well the chrome applies with the crystal top coat, because sometimes chrome can be a little bit finicky. I have a lot of the time used it with the classic no wipe top coat and it's always applied perfectly. So let's see how it goes with the crystal top coat. So we have cured our crystal top coat, and then I've took it out the lamp and I'm coming straight in with the pearl white chrome. And what I'm doing is I'm just rubbing this in onto roughly half of the nail, and I'm just going in circular motions, burnishing that on with the silicone tool and then dusting off the excess. So I've took it roughly halfway down the nail because I'm going to paint on my French tip with top coat. So you want to make sure that you've got enough chrome where you want your French to be, and the reason why I've took it further down the nail is so that I can get the wings or the side walls of my French to go nice and deep down the nail. So then to do the French tip, I'm going to come in and apply that crystal top coat to my palette, and of course because we're doing a French, I'm going to be using the Kiki London French brush because this makes any kind of French nail art a lot easier. So I'm loading up my brush and then I go down one side and then flip the brush over and go down the other side. This gives us the circular middle center part of our smile line, and then using the long end of the bristles I'm going to drag that top coat down to bring the wings of that French down a little bit more. Of course, how you do your French is going to depend on what look you're going for or what look your client wants. You can just do the top part if you want more of a natural French. Some people like to have a really short French tip and some people like to go in with a really deep curve. So I love using those longer ends of the bristles to get that really nice deep curve. So now that we've cured that top coat, that has basically cured in the French part of our chrome. So then we're going to wipe away that excess that's not needed, and then this leaves you with just a glazed French tip, which looks really subtle and natural, but I think it looks super pretty. It is a little bit tricky to pick up on camera. This was one of those looks that did look a little bit better in real life, but I really love this look. I think it looks super pretty, but like I said, it's really nice and natural for somebody who might not necessarily want an over-the-top nail art design, but they still want to have some nail art on their nails, especially whereas I feel this year has been the year of quite minimalist nail art. So I think this is a really pretty minimalist look, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now at this point you have top coated your gel polish base and then you applied your chrome and you have top coated that chrome tip. So everything has been top coated, but I still like to come in and apply that another layer of top coat just to give everything a super smooth finish and make sure everything's sealed in and you're not going to have any chipping issues, because sometimes I feel like if you've applied your chrome over the top of your gel polish, it can just be a little bit finicky. So for kind of peace of mind that everything is going to last beautifully, I just come in with that another layer of top coat, kept it nice and thin, and then that is the nail design finished. So I'm going to do the same again with the pearl chrome tip, but I wanted to show you guys what it looked like over a coloured base. Obviously blush is quite a natural nudie pink, and a lot of the time when I've seen this look done, it has been done with a pinky nude shade for quite a natural look. But of course you can do it over a colour as well, which is quite fun for summer, because obviously this is where you're using a lot of your brights and your neons, but you can still create that same look. So I've done exactly the same as before. This time we've done 2 coats of the gorgeous Zesty Blue, which always shows up a little bit different on camera to what it does in real life. It has a little bit more of a green turquoise tint to it in real life. So we've done 2 coats of that, popped that into cure, done a coat of our crystal top coat, cured that for 60 seconds, and then we're coming in and we're going to burnish on our chrome. So I kind of, with my chrome, I'll go up and down and in circular motions with the silicone tool, making sure that you're going right around the tip of the nail. So I'm making sure that my silicone tool is really getting along those edges, especially where you're going to be doing a French tip. You want that tip to look flawless with the chrome application. Don't be scared to come in with a little bit more if you need to. I tend to try and go in with less chrome than I think I'm going to need, and then add a little bit more, rather than going in with loads on the nail and then it making a complete mess. So you can just come in, add a little bit more if it's needed. Brush off that excess with a soft brush. I highly recommend the Kiki London dust brush for dusting off any of your chrome excess, because if you use a brush that's quite hard and bristly, it will remove more of that chrome. So rather than just removing the excess, the harsh bristles will take off some of that chrome that you want to stay on the nail, because until you've sealed it in with top coat, it's very easy to remove. So just use a nice soft brush to brush off that excess, and then that also helps really make sure that your application is nice and smooth as well, and might burnish in any additional particles that you've missed. We then come on again with our French brush, painted on our French tip. This is a little bit tricky to see where we're painting on with a clear top coat, so this is something you kind of have to play around with practicing. If you're not the best at French, I would recommend practicing French application with colours before coming in and trying to do it with top coat, because it is a little bit tricky. Then as you see, I've just took some alcohol on a lint-free pad to wipe off that excess chrome powder that hasn't been top coated in our French tip, and then once again we're going to seal everything in with a final layer of the crystal top coat. Now this looks really pretty, just because I love the fact that it's just that really subtle look, but over the bright blue it looks beautiful. I think it will look really cool over neons, and maybe even a black as well, or the darker shades, the pearlescent effect would definitely pop a little bit more. But I loved how subtle it looked, but still being quite fun. Now I'm going to show you guys the exact same technique, but using a holographic chrome powder. Lost my train of thought there. So yeah, we're going to be using the holographic powder. Again, I haven't played around a lot with the chromes and the crystal top coat, and I did find that it worked beautifully. If you do have any issues though, I did find that by wiping over the top coat with a little bit of alcohol, this did help as well. I didn't need to do that in any of the nails I did on camera, but when I was having a little practice with certain colors and certain techniques, I did find that if I ever had a chrome that wasn't sticking to my top coat, if I top coated, cured, and then wiped it with a bit of alcohol, the chrome stuck perfectly. So a little tip there if you are struggling. Now I found the crystal top coat worked pretty much exactly the same as the no wipe top coat when it comes to application wise. A lot of the time though, when I'm sealing in my chrome, I do usually opt to use the rubber top coat, because I like that it's that little bit thicker when it comes to encapsulating. But the crystal top coat is somewhere in between the no wipe top coat and the rubber top coat for thickness, so it does still work beautifully for encapsulating, and it just has an absolute gorgeous shine. It has rapidly become one of my favorite top coats out of the Kiki range, but I do feel as though they all have a place in your nail kit. So here we are again, we've cured our top coat and we're coming in on burnishing on the holographic powder. With the holographic powder, I find a little goes a very long way. It's very pigmented, and the holographic effect is beautiful. So here we're going to come on, and this is a little bit easier to paint on the top coat here, because I feel as though you can see it a little bit easier compared to over the pearlescent chrome powder. So once again, load up the French brush. You want a generous amount of polish on your brush. I place it down flat on the nail and go down one side, flip the brush over, go down the other side, and then because I quite like an elongated side to my French, I'll just use the edges, the longer bristles on the brush to pull those down. If you feel more confident, you can also do this with the stripe liner brush. You will then want to make sure that you pop that in to cure for 60 seconds and then wipe off the excess chrome powder to reveal your pretty French smile line. Now, bearing in mind also, I just want you to jump back to cure times. The different top coats in the Kiki range do have slightly different top curing times. So for example, the no wipe top coat requires a 30-second cure, but the crystal top coat and the rubber top coat require a 60-second cure. So do check your bottles depending on what top coat you're using to check the cure times, because it is really important that you cure them for the right amount of time. And I always recommend curing in the Kiki London Deluxe LED lamp as well. This lamp is amazing. It cures everything beautifully, and I have been using it for around, gosh, I think it must be about 4 years now, and it is still going super strong. So on to the next now, we're going to stick with the holographic chrome, but again I want to show you guys what this looks like over a natural nudie shade. So we went for Nude Tan, and then I wanted to show it over a fun color, so I went for the beautiful Violet Dawn. This is such a highly pigmented shade even in one coat, but I always recommend applying 2 coats just because it gives you that really nice even finish, and then you can keep your layers nice and thin as well. It's really important when you're doing any kind of gel polish application, especially with nail art, that you're keeping your layers nice and thin. One, because you don't want to have any curing issues. If you apply your product too thickly, you may find that they wrinkle or bubble in the lamp. And 2, if you're doing layered nail art, you want to keep everything nice and thin, because otherwise you're going to end up with a really thick, bulky looking nail. So you can see here, you would have normally had your base coat, your 2 layers of gel polish, then you're going to have 1 layer of top coat, then you're going to have your chrome, your chrome French top coat section, and then another layer of top coat. So it's quite a lot of layers. So if you're keeping everything nice and thin, you won't end up with a bulky finish. So again, I'm going to take my silicone tool. The chrome powders do also come with a little applicator with them. So if you're purchasing them and you don't have a silicone tool, they do come with a little applicator brush to apply them. However, I do highly recommend picking up the silicone tool because it makes application a lot easier, and it's really easy to clean between chrome powders as well. I just take a little bit of acetone on a lint-free pad and give it a wipe, and all the chrome powders come off effortlessly. I loved how the holographic powder looked against the Violet Dawn here, by the way. I think it just looked, it had a summery vibe, but it also gave a bit of a disco ball, fun, funky look. I really loved it. However, I did mess up my French a little bit on this one. Like I said, it is a little bit tricky when you're painting on a clear product to see how neat your French is. And normally if I make a mistake with my French, I'll go in with my angled nail art brush to clean it up, which you can still do, but it's really hard to spot the mistakes when you're painting it on with top coat. So here, when I'm wiping off that excess chrome powder with my alcohol, I just wasn't 100% happy on the right hand side with the French, but you could fix this up with a little bit of metallic nail art paint, or you could go in, apply a little bit more top coat and fix it up with the holographic foils as well, sorry, the holographic powder as well. However, it was good enough to still be passable in my opinion, so I'm going to come in and top coat again, and this gives us that super shiny encapsulated look. Now I was going to come in and do the next nail design with one of the mirror chrome powders, but they do apply exactly the same as the pearlescent and the holographic powder. So I thought I would have a go at doing a platinum flake French, which isn't something I don't think I've done before. It didn't go as easy as I thought it would go, but I will show you how I get a nice crisp French at the end, so do stay tuned. I wanted this now to be really fun and bright because the platinum flakes to me are really fun, funky and bright. So I'm going to come in and do 2 coats of Pink Me Up. Now I do find that I reach for Pink Me Up all year round. I love a pink, and this one is like your classic Barbie pink. It's brilliant for summer, it's brilliant in spring, it's brilliant for Valentine's Day, it's brilliant if you are just wanting a really bright, funky Barbie inspired set of nails. It works brilliant in nail art as well for painting things like florals because it's super pigmented. So this is one colour that I do highly recommend. So we've done our 2 coats, curing each of those for 30 seconds, and now we're going to come in and apply our crystal top coat. Again, you want to make sure your application here, everything is super smooth and super even. I like to go over and apply it nice and thin. Sometimes if I feel I've applied it too thickly or a little bit uneven, I'll wipe off my bottle brush and smooth everything out. If you do feel as though your application needs a little bit of work, you can hold your hand upside down for a few seconds to help it self-level if you do apply it too thickly. So once we had cured that crystal top coat, we're going to come in and burnish on our flakes. Now, if you keep rubbing and keep burnishing these, you do end up with a chrome effect finish, but I didn't want that. I wanted to stick with the flaky look. So I've tried not to apply too many, and I'm trying to only lightly brush them in to keep with that shattered flaky look. Now a lot of flakes are very messy, so do prepare to get these absolutely everywhere, but that is just part of the fun of it. When I left my desk, I could, even after cleaning it, I still had a few pink sparkles here and there. So we've burnished them down, brushed off the excess. At this point, I was thinking, oh my God, is this going to work, or is this going to look a little bit too crazy? But I kept with it. So again, we're taking that French brush, loaded up with our crystal top coat, and we're painting on our French tip. Now, because in the back of my mind, I was thinking, I really don't think this is going to work how I want it to work, I didn't double check how neat I had done my French tip crystal top coat application. So at this point, we've cured it. I'm just kind of thinking, am I going to go with this? So we're going to take our alcohol and remove those excess flakes. Now this step is a little bit tricky because these do really stick down, so you're going to have to give them a good rub with your alcohol. Now you can see there the lint-free pad is turning pink. That's not from the pink gel polish, that's from those flakes. The color seems to come off of the flakes and then they'll start removing, they start breaking down basically. So don't stress that we were removing the top coat. But here you can see my smile line just wasn't very neat. I really loved how the French effect turned out, but through my own mistake, I hadn't done a very neat finish. But I wanted to show you the way I fixed that. So I realized that Modern Barbie from the Platinum range looks very similar to the pink flakes. So these two products go hand in hand. So I popped some of this down on my palette, and then I reached for my trusty stripe liner brush, which I don't seem to do a set of nails without. Loaded it up with Modern Barbie, and then I'm just gonna literally fix up that edge to make it look super sharp. So I'm gonna just come around the whole smile line so that it looks nice and even, because I think it would have been a little bit more noticeable if I'd only done it on that one section that was a little bit wonky. And then I'm just gonna very gently, taking a really tiny amount, blend it into the flakes a little bit. And it looked really, really pretty. It was really hard to tell that it was even there because it blended in with the flakes like perfectly, but it gave off a really pretty finish, and I loved that it gave us a super sharp finish as well. So I left it in to show you guys because I thought it was a really good tip to fix up your application if it does go wrong when doing a flaky French, because it was a little bit tricky. So of course then we do need to come in and top coat to seal everything in, especially that glitter that we've just added. So we've top coated, cured that for 60 seconds, and this was the finished result. I really loved this nail, to be honest. Do let me know what technique or what chrome worked best in your opinion. I do find that I really loved the pearlescent effect on the first nail over the blush. That's definitely a set that I would wear a full set of on myself. I really hope you all enjoyed today's video and picked up some tips and tricks. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment below, and hit that subscription button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. As always, all the products I've used will be linked in the description box below. Thank you all so much for watching. Lots of love. Take care. Bye bye.